This is the AVS Aurora, the most capable warship to date. At 445 meters in length, she carries an arsenal that allows her to take on enemy fleets alone. She is armed with 6 1000mm cannons, capable of penetrating any armor currently in use. To defend against aerial attacks, she houses a battery of 18 long-range rapid-fire anti-aircraft guns designed to destroy incoming aircraft before they even have a chance to fire. She is also fitted with a flight deck and an aircraft elevator, which allow her to deploy and receive light aircraft, usually fighters or reconnaissance planes. She is a formidable ship created with the intent of holding complete dominance of the sky and ground below. This project started a while ago with the Airship Challenge on the SimplePlanes website. When I started, I had just over a month to finish it, but exams in real life happened, so I ended up missing the deadline by 3 months.
It's been 3 months! What have you been doing all this time?
It was postponed though, so I still uploaded in time. Anyway, here's some of the build process. I first needed some way to simulate buoyancy, and from my experience, 6 lateral engines are a good method of making something float. So that, and some trigonometry, led to a working system. I then started making the fuselage, just a fairly standard looking airship envelope. I also doubled the fuselages to make the envelope look like it had a polygon cross-section and not a circular one, similar to what old airships had. I then decided that it wasn't big enough to be imposing, so I scaled it up 10 times. Next, I added the fins that would be used for high-speed controls. I actually first built them on the smaller version and then scaled them up as the fuselage size limit would have been annoying otherwise. I also had to change a setting which makes different parts of the craft have similar rotational inertia so that the control surfaces wouldn't rotate the whole ship. Nothing could go wrong with this, right?
Foreshadowing.
Now, I had something that looked like an airship, but it lacked control. I first created the main engines and set them up so that throttle and brake controls would control the blade pitch, allowing for reverse thrust, which is very useful for precision landings. I still needed X-axis control, so I made 2 holes in the fuselage with propellers inside. I also added hatches so that they would look more aerodynamic when not in use. I don't think that actually changes the aerodynamics in game.
SimplePlanes moment.
This control system seemed to work, so I moved on and built the lower fuselage. Here I took inspiration from a fictional airship, but I will not say which one it was. I integrated the main bridge into the lower fuselage, and by this point it was a fairly nice looking design. Now came the anti-aircraft guns, which were an important part of the design, as if I couldn't make them work, trying to make the ship a military vehicle would be pointless. She is an airship, so she doesn't have much armor. I placed 8 guns on the lower side and 8 on top. This way the Aurora could defend herself from almost any angle. Now came the problem of making them aim. Of course, I could steal code for this, but making it work with multiple guns, some of which are nearly 300 meters apart, would be difficult, so I decided to write it myself. After way too much debugging, it actually started working, but now there was another problem. It seemed like the range of guns was somehow inherently limited in-game. This was somewhat true. I have another video describing what this is. In short though, I tricked the game into thinking the guns had different settings than those they actually had, which allowed me to increase the range, at the cost of some frame rate. I also extended the battery with 2 quad cannons on the nose and tail for more coverage. And here they are, taking out an enemy aircraft at a range of almost 8 kilometers. At this point, I was sure she could defend herself, so I continued by arming her with enormous 1000mm cannons. If you're wondering how I did the recoil, I simply attached the cannon and a hollow fuselage to a shock absorber with a lot of damper. It was here that I decided to add a working flight deck. I knew that the biggest problem would be landing on the airship when it was still, so I needed some sort of arresting wire. I first tried magnets, but that didn't work at all, so something different was required. And as you likely know, collision physics in SimplePlanes are suboptimal to say the least. I tried hooking a rod attached to a shock absorber, making sure to disable collision response, but the hook would just clip into the rod and pass through. That's when I had an idea. Multiple connected rods. That way, even if the hook clips through the first one, it will hit the next one, giving the game time to notice the clipping and put the hook back to where it's supposed to be. Somehow, after a lot of tweaking, this actually worked. It's inconsistent, sure, but that makes it closer to real carrier landings. Luckily, I didn't have to do anything about the takeoff. The plane I was planning to use was very good at short takeoff. The problems arose when I tried to actually integrate the plane into the ship. The time and effort it took me to build the hangar in such a way that it didn't break every 10 seconds was immense. But finally, after the whole thing exploding hundreds of times because of part mass inconsistencies or pistons being bendy or something else, I managed to make it consistently deploy an aircraft. Also, remember when I said I changed the setting with part inertia? Yeah, that caused a lot of problems at this stage, and I couldn't even change it back because then the airplane inside would have near zero maneuverability. But finally, after all of this screwing around with the physics engine, the whole system actually started to function. All that was left to do was to decorate the airship, so I added some parts to the bridge, a piece of fuselage that looked cool, which could also work as armor, but whatever, and an aircraft control tower at the top. I then repainted the whole ship and added a bunch of insignia, because why not? And here it is, in all of its glory. This took way too long. That's all I have though. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye!